Hi, Ted.
Now you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think this is going to be a short meeting.
How are you today?
Just fine. I got a new mattress.
Oh, nice. That's a big deal.
So thank you so much for stepping in.
Oh,
For everything. Yes.
you're welcome. My pleasure.
I love the ginkgo leaves in your background.
Thank you. Yeah, ginkgos are like an important symbol for me. I always know I'm in the right place if there's ginkgos nearby. It's always when I was a girl, I rode my bike to the library and there was a ginkgo tree out front, and I always connected ginkgos with libraries and
Well,
reading.
they're very important to me as a Chinese historian as well, because they're just and ginkgos have also been a part of my life for a long time. And when we moved to the house here in Oak Park 25 years ago, we planted a columnar ginkgo, which is now huge. And of course, there's the ginkgo outside the Frank Lloyd Wright House. So
yeah. I thought Virginia was trying.
there she is.
Here she is. Okay. Hi, Virginia.
The ginkgo lori is also like a living fossil. And there's another one called the dawn redwood, which you should look up.
Yeah, I
which
will.
is one of the 3 species of metasequoia. And they thought it was extinct until the 1930s, and they found some in China. And we have several of the Metasequoia glyphostroboids, dawn redwood, here in Oak Park. So look it up.
Yeah, I will.
Dawn redwood, DAWN.
Cool.
And there's a fascinating story about that. Oh, Virginia, you're muted.
I said I always come in at the weirdest times. Like I popped in and I'm like, what are we talking about, Trace?
We're talking about Lori's wallpaper.
Oh, yeah, never would have guessed that was the segue to what I came into. No, not even a little bit would I have guessed that.
Talking about ginkgos.
And you know that there are boy ginkgo trees and girl ginkgo trees.
Yes.
And one of them is stinky and one of them is beautiful. So
hilarious story about how sometimes I'm not as observant as I should be. So I grew up, my parents had this giant ginkgo tree in their yard, and every year I'd get really excited for the leaves to fall. So this year, I was like, we're gonna go out to the arboretum, we're gonna see some ginkgo trees. We pass at least 5 on the walk to school, and there are at least 10 on the school property. Why I drove out to Morton, I don't know.
But one of the incredible things, Virginia, is that they drop those leaves in one day.
That's why I was like, we have whatever day it is, like I'm like waiting, and we're gotta go. And like I was on edge because you have like only 24, 48 hours tops before it's just like, so I was on edge. And then I was like, this whole row of trees here, these are all ginkgos. We walk by these every single morning. Mommy was not paying attention, not at all. That's okay. I'm good at other things.
So where were these ginkgo trees? Where were you in school then? For this?
Oh no, this was walking my son to school. He goes to Lincoln.
Here in Oak Park. Okay.
We're 2 blocks away from the school, and we must pass at least 10 by the time I get him to the door. And I was just like, I was so hyper focused on like getting the map of the ginkgo trees that are at the arboretum, and what day can we go out, and what are the mask protocols when we're there. Like, I could have just walked around the corner.
So Suzanne, we're talking about ginkgo trees.
The stinko ginkgo.
Those are the girl trees, or are those the boy trees? Which are the stinkos?
They are the the fruit producing, which one might refer to as girl tree, but
Yeah, the fruit bearing trees, but
yeah. Yeah. So Lori, it's so great to see you. And thank you so much for helping us to have a way to navigate through this. We really, really appreciate it. I'll speak for myself. I really
I super appreciate it. Thank you for giving us the breathing room to make sure that we can do this correctly.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm happy to do it. Look forward to supporting you in the search. It's exciting.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Let's see. I will. All right, we're officially past 6:30, so I will call the ad hoc committee meeting to order, and I will be taking roll for all three of us. Suzanne Fairfax,
Here.
Ted Foss,
Here.
and Virginia Bloom is also here. We will also do a quick vote to agree to conduct the meeting virtually. Suzanne Fairfax,
Yes.
Ted Foss,
Yes.
Virginia Bloom is also a yes. Moving on, we will do public comment. I did not receive any. Matt did not send any my way. Lori, do we have any that came into you?
No comments, no.
Okay. So just sort of to review what our primary job is here tonight. We are taking a look at the new RFPs that have come in since the last round of requests and making a determination on if we would like any of those candidates to come to the March 8th special meeting where we will be able to interview them as the board. We only had one response. The response was from RGW. And unfortunately, both Carrington and HR Source are not going to be coming to the March 8th meeting. So tonight, whomever we choose to move forward, which again, only RGW has returned their response to the RFP, will be the only people coming to the March 8th meeting. I did not hear from anyone on the board about reconsidering anyone else, but I think at this point that may be moot. Did Ted, Suzanne, did you guys both get a chance to take a look at the RGW proposal?
Yeah.
I did. And HR Source has withdrawn itself. I mean, or did we decide? Okay, so they
No,
withdrew.
they withdrew themselves,
Okay.
as did Carrington and Carrington.
Okay. Because that was a little confusing to me as to whether or not they withdrew or we decided on an earlier meeting that we would not consider them, but they withdrew. Okay.
They withdrew. I believe they are at capacity for what their
Okay.
staff can handle. And so they didn't want to take on a project of this scale and scope without the proper staff and support.
So we have 4 of our original 7 plus Rashida Graham Washington as to consider.
I think tonight we are only considering RGW.
Okay, thank you.
So I guess I should ask, does anyone have any questions or concerns with us asking RGW to come in? I will go ahead and disclose, I have worked with Rashida on the anti-racism board. I've also worked with RGW separately outside of items that I've done with the library. But I will definitely give an impartial opinion on, what I think RGW would be able to do. But I did want to go ahead and let you guys both know that I have worked with her outside of the library and her staff.
So Virginia, at this point, the only thing we have to decide today is whether or not RGW will make a presentation on the 8th.
Yeah, and it's not really a presentation. I think it's more going to be us asking RGW and the RGW staff questions on how they will facilitate the search. You know, some of the questions that we wished we could have asked in the first round.
Okay.
So I don't know that it will be so much presentation as us as the board having time to ask her questions and
But at this
get some
point,
answers on.
we don't evaluate her proposal. So,
No.
okay.
We're evaluating her proposal in so much as to decide for the board if the board as a whole would like to hear from RGW.
We were basically set up so that if we got 26 or something, that we could narrow the field. But there's no field to narrow.
Yeah.
In the additional, it's really too bad that the additional names that I was given from Koya Partners, it's too bad they didn't submit. I don't know if it was a timing issue or, you know, or an availability issue. You know, people who do DEI special search are in demand right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the only people wanting that specialty.
I think hearing that from HR source, that's kind of the thought that I got is, you know, they already kind of work with us. And if they're saying that they're at capacity for what would be a very large project with, you know, somebody they already work with, we might be running up against that without having a relationship built with them already. So some of these places just may be at capacity and not able to take on something that might be a larger project or might have a larger scope than what they have the capacity to take on.
One thing I did notice in RGW's proposal is it talks about starting in April. And when I spoke with Koya Partners, they were not available till May. So at least it's a month earlier than that would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be nice to be able to start right now. But
I think that's something we could probably ask. You know, if we decide that she, you know, RGW needs to come in on March 8th, we could probably ask, you know, we see, because the timeline seemed to be pretty simplified by like, we're going to do this in 1 month, we're going to do this in another month. It may have just been easier to present it that way. She might have capacity to start sooner. I think we'll have to ask and see.
Right.
How,
I think we definitely, and it's interesting because the questions will be a different set of questions than,
yeah,
because of her having already done the ready work at
yeah,
the library.
I think we'll have very few DEI related questions because she did help the staff craft the anti-racism, you know, policy and outlook. So we may have some questions, but
so if it's not too preemptive, I think this ad hoc committee, may I move that we ask RGW to make a presentation or be a part of the discussion on the 8th. May I make
I'll
that motion?
second.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Suzanne Fairfax.
Aye.
Ted Foss.
Aye.
And Virginia Bloom is an aye. I don't know that we have anything else to cover today. We will go ahead and relay to Matt, since Lori is already here and heard our decision. We'll relay to Matt and the rest of the board that we would like to have RGW come to the special meeting the evening of March 8th for some question and answer time with the board. And then after that meeting, I think at our regular meeting for the month of March, we will make a decision on whether we are moving forward with RGW or if we are going a different direction in the executive search process.
So my understanding is that on the 8th, we will hear from RGW, Bradbury Miller, Dieterson Todd, EFL Associates, and Greenwood Asher.
No, on March 8th, we will hear from RGW.
Oh, okay.
We were going to have HR Source and Carrington and whoever new came in on the 8th. So unless in some form of communication that Matt manages between now and then, we decide to have somebody else. One thing I did notice is we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's
That'll be
awesome.
just for the 8th. If the board after that is not satisfied, we can, look other areas. We can go back to the initial pool of candidates. Honestly, I think Lori, thank you to you. Having Lori step up means that we can take this process more slowly if we absolutely have to. But for now, we'll hear from RGW on the 8th, and we'll baby steps, Bob. We'll make a decision from there. What we want to do at the regular meeting as far as either securing RGW or looking back at our previous options or putting out a 3rd round of RFP requests.
Thank you. That clarifies it for me. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think I might have the honor of having chaired the shortest library board meeting in history. But I will go ahead and call this meeting adjourned, let you guys have your evenings back, and I will speak to you on the 8th.
All right, see you on the
Thank
8th.
you so much, Virginia.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.